Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for your patience. I know we are running a bit late, but the Foreign Affairs Council of October has just concluded, and High Representative Federica Mogherini will present the main outcome, and then we'll take a couple of or a few of your questions. High Representative, you have the floor.
Thank you, Maya. Again, apologies for the delay. First of all, on Syria, I can say that after a long conversation we had with all the ministers, but also partially, or at least for part of the discussion with Staffan de Mistura, we have a united, clear, strong, common EU position and message on Syria. First of all, the priority is to stop the bombing of Aleppo. In this respect, we call Syria and Syrian regime and Russia to stop the bombing and avoid further humanitarian catastrophe. You will see the entire conclusions. Languages in the conclusions is pretty clear, and that constitutes our common strong basis for not only stating our common position but also action. When we say that the European Union firmly believes that there is no military solution to this conflict, this means that the European Union supports and encourages all efforts in all formats to stop not only the bombing on Aleppo, but also supports all efforts to avoid any further military escalation, any further direct confrontation on a military level, and also supports all efforts in all formats to agree, implement and monitor an effective ceasefire. In this respect, obviously, we commented the meetings that were held during the weekend, hoping that this will bring results in the coming days. The EU agrees, and this is our common basis, to call urgently for an end of all military flights over Aleppo, immediate cessation of hostilities to be monitored by a strong and transparent mechanism, sieges to be lifted, and countries-wide humanitarian access to be guaranteed. Because our priority in this moment is to save Aleppo and to save lives, human lives. This is why the European Union will continue an intense diplomatic humanitarian effort, reaching out to all players on the ground and internationally on a humanitarian initiative that we launched a couple of weeks ago that in coordination and cooperation with the UN agencies would deliver humanitarian relief to eastern Aleppo and other besieged areas and allow the safe and monitored evacuation of urgent medical cases. And we urge the Syrian regime to give authorization for humanitarian convoys to be delivered, in particular, and starting from eastern Aleppo. This is an issue I've discussed in these last days repeatedly with Lavrov, with Zarif, with other players, and we really have the #1 priority today, that is saving Aleppo and saving lives in Aleppo. But the EU is also ready to play its part on the political track, and as we say that there is no military solution to the conflict, we are ready to start working to help in this context in constant and full coordination with the UN and the UN Special Envoy. This is why we decided to launch a dialogue with key regional partners, with key actors in the region, start looking at where a political transition might end up, what the regional players and the European Union can do to start preparing a post-conflict in all its different strands, being it reconciliation, reconstruction, institutional structures of a post-conflict state that we all agree has to be united and not divided, secular, inclusive, and with a space for all minority groups. We might also look at ways, together with regional key players, of working on local governance and devolution, but also national and local reconciliation, and as I said, start looking at support for economic reconstruction That could start, obviously, only once the political transition starts, but can be prepared or can be started in preparation already now. We believe that this work can be useful, first of all, to provide or to explore some common ground among different actors, but second, also to reinforce or to strengthen other parallel tracks that are focusing more on the immediate urgency, especially on the ceasefire and the military process. So no duplication at all, no substitute at all, but a way to somehow serve in a better, more proactive way from the European Union side the current efforts, the current processes that are in place, on one side linked to the role of the UN Special Envoy that discussed these proposals with us today, but also by the ISSG co-chairs that are restarting efforts in this direction in this moment. Let me conclude the point on Syria by saying that we also obviously discussed the need to continue fighting against Daesh and other UN-designated terrorist groups, both in Syria and in Iraq. Let me use this opportunity to say that obviously today, the news of today is the offensive on Mosul that has started this morning, a crucial element in the campaign to defeat Daesh. We will discuss this, as I said this morning, also with the Iraqi foreign minister that will be with me tomorrow in Brussels. We believe, again, that first of all, the Iraqi authorities have our full support, also the Iraqi people in this difficult time, and that we will need to work on prioritizing protection of civilian population of Mosul and also on the full respect of international humanitarian law. Syria was not the only issue we discussed. We also tackled the migration work we're doing. As you might know, this week, actually tomorrow, the Commission will adopt the report on the partnership frameworks, the migration compacts, that will be presented at the European Council later this week. I took the opportunity to share with the ministers elements of this report that show a positive trend with all 5 priority countries. All ministers welcomed not only the work done, but also the progress already achieved in this first month. Obviously, is first steps. We will need to continue the work. Let me share with you that I thanked all the ministers and all the member states, because if we have now already a positive trend on the implementation of the migration compacts, is thanks to the active teamwork that all member states have played together with European institutions with the 5 priority countries. We also decided earlier this morning to proceed with the implementation of the global strategy in all its different strands of work, moving from vision, a shared vision, to common action. The work will continue. In November, I will present to the foreign and defense ministers in a joint session of the Council the implementation plan on defense and security that will lay the ground for the European Council of December to adopt steps to be taken to strengthen the European defense. But let me underline the work we're doing on the implementation of the strategy is not limited to security and defense. We will carry on our work also in other fields, in particular building resilience of our partners in our region and beyond. Africa is a key example of this. And talking about resilience, we also decided to, in a busy day, we take time to focus also on the positive stories, to increase our support to Tunisia, a country that looks at Europe and the European Union with a lot of hope and sympathy. And I'm afraid sympathy has a different meaning in English, sorry. Anyway, as a point of reference. And we feel very clearly and very strongly the fact that it is for the European Union to provide that support, that accompanying measures that Tunisia needs to make the difference, especially to its youth. This is why we decided to allocate up to 300 million euros for next year, 2017, for Tunisia, especially to create the socio-economic conditions for the Tunisian youth to find their own way in life, in their country, in security, and prevent all possible dangers that the country can face in a challenging region, in a challenging time, especially given the risk of tensions spilling over from Libya. I'll stop here, leave space for your questions, and happy to answer to